Whenever you're ready.
Serial killers are a lot like natural disasters. In the scheme of things, they're quite rare. They don't really happen a lot. This is a quote from him, sorry. Serial murders are a bit like natural disasters. In the scheme of things, they're quite rare, but when they do happen, they demand our attention. And they interest us for several reasons, but especially because they profoundly challenge our sense of our everyday security. This is a quote by Todd R. Clear. Okay, serial killing in adulthood and understanding their motives. So serial killers have multiple different reasons why they do the things they do. So what are some of the reasons? Why do serial killers kill? For some of the most prominent reasons that they do kill would be lust and low self-esteem, power, control, impulse, anger, psychological gratification, and a lot more. Here we have another list right here that shows a bit more. You got your delusional goals, and you need the need for attention and the thrill. There are two types of different serial killers. You have the organized killer and the disorganized killer. The organized killer tends to have a bit more of a higher IQ because that's how they formulate their killings, and they're more planned, they're more thorough with their murders. The disorganized killers have a lower IQ because they tend to be more opportunistic. They kind of just go with the flow. And these are the killers that are more likely to be caught right here. Here's a different percentage of motives. So right here you've got the enjoyment, the thrill, the lust. It's more of like a self like I want to do it motive. The smaller percentages would be like for financial gain. Female serial killers are the ones with the highest percent of financial means for murder. Are there any warning signs? The answer is simple, yes, there are. There are quite a few, actually. We have a few pictures right here that show like a sample of one. The most prominent I've noticed in every single case would be harming animals during childhood. And they do this because they often feel powerless and like they don't have control in their own home lives, and they don't have a way for that release to come out in a healthy, positive way, so they torture animals. Antisocial behavior is another big one. They isolate themselves, or they're just a bit more aggressive in general. You've got social isolation. These two are different. This is more, the antisocial behaviors, they tend to be more aggressive. They tend to not like socialize at all. And social isolation is they just don't have anybody really. They don't really talk to people at all. And then you have the unstable home life. Most serial killers do come from an unstable background. If you look at their histories. What is antisocial behavior? The opposite of cooperative. I can't read that from here. But it's the opposite of what our norms are, basically. And I'll put that in the wrong spot. It's okay. And this is the loneliness of growing up in an unstable household and how they have negative effects on our brains. How do serial killers operate? Well, they're like a wolf in sheep's clothing. Most serial killers are funny, they're good looking, they're kind, they're charming, and like a whole lot of other things. And a lot of times they pretend, if not are, in fact, religious. A prime example of a wolf in sheep's clothing is the infamous serial killer Ted Bundy. Now, they call him the chameleon because he was able to change his appearance throughout his killing spree right here. This is actually, I believe this one right here is when he escaped prison and went in survival mode in the mountains. Ted Bundy lured his victims by pretending to have a broken arm and asking for their assistance with his canoe, and he would make jokes with them, he would dance with them, he'd be funny, and then he would lure them out and then murder them. So he is the prime example for a wolf in sheep's clothing. Leading factors in adulthood serial killing. Childhood trauma. As stated previously, it is one of the highest factors in adult serial killing because of the way the brain is wired. You see right here, these are two different brain scans in children. This is a brain of a child who is in an abusive household with a traumatic situation, and this is a healthy brain with someone who has lived more of a normal family life. It's more safety and balance. You can see the temporal lobes are structured different, and the temporal lobes is what help our emotions and our impulses and everything else like that. Prime example of this one would be Richard Ramirez, also known as the Night Stalker. He has 13 victims. There are, in fact, different types of childhood trauma. You have head trauma or / brain trauma, which is one of the more prolific types of traumas: physical, emotional, sexual, neglect, and witnessing violence. Richard Ramirez is every single one of these. When he was just 13 years of age, his uncle, who was a Vietnam soldier, murdered his wife in front of him, along with showing him other horrific things. And that rewired his brain. He also had a traumatic head injury when he was 2 years old while having a dresser fall on his head, needing ER assistance. And then 3 years later, he got knocked out by a swing, and that later on caused him to develop epilepsy. Is there a solution to preventing serial killers? Yeah, stop abusing children. It's that simple. Understanding how the child's brain develops and grows is essential for understanding how we could stop it. You got the crucial age for childhood brain development is birth to 5 years of age, and you can see that right here. 90% of our brain develops before the age of 5. And the end of my slide, here's a fun little activity book, How to Get Away with Murder. It's a fun book. Concluding the speech, if you can understand the way serial killers are made, you can better understand how we can help prevent them. People don't always have the resources they need in order to get the help that they need to stay healthy mentally. So if people can help other people who are struggling, we can prevent that. So that's it.
All right, have we heard from all of our speakers? Has everybody had a chance to go? Oh, one more, all right.